I didn't look up the episode number before I hit go. Damn it, I'll have to cut this later. What episode number? Oh my god. This is Don't Panic, episode number 397, recorded February 3rd, 2025. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that has no actual plan for the show. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by the two original improvisers, Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening.
Hello, Sean.
Don't Panic, the show that makes jazz look like classical
That's
music.
a thinker. That's a thinker. I like that. It's all about the words you don't hear.
Just imagine it. I think so. One, this is not necessarily related, but a public service announcement I would like to share with you guys and the friends of the pod is that I received a strongly worded email from our website hosting provider telling me that our version of Node.js is no longer supported and I better upgrade it post haste. And I tried to upgrade it and it did not work out of the box. So we're running on an unsupported version of Node. So I don't know, the website still works, but we're past the cutoff date, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Anything could happen now.
Right. This could be a Y2K situation.
So listen, all those hackers out there that think we're vulnerable, think again.
Now, Colby, you didn't dutifully upgrade all the NPM packages every day for the last 7 years or whatever?
No. And honestly, this happened, a year or two ago, and it was fine. I just schlooped up to the next version and all was good. But no such luck this time. So,
well, to think, this is our second website or third website? Is it the third?
I can't remember
third.
anymore. It's got to be the third, because we must have started with a website, and then Colby and I built a website, and then Colby built this website.
But has this one lasted the longest?
Right.
So it's at least 3.
Right.
That's probably right.
I think so.
I think so, too. Because the second one we built, but then we lost the keys to the website, right? So we had,
I think so.
Somehow we were able to extract the database and then move it over to a new website.
All I remember is that we logged in with Facebook accounts, and that is they disabled that version or whatever.
Oh yeah, right. And that's what I did. Is that why we had to build a new website? Because we couldn't log in with Facebook anymore? You would have had to have ripped the whole thing apart and redo it to fit whatever their new login system was, and we were not worth it. Oh right.
But it was worth it because we have a great website that may still work. Your results may vary.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's time. We're on some sort of log scale of building
I will say,
a new website. Right?
Features of the current website include a phone number that doesn't exist anymore. It also includes a Pix system that we don't really use anymore. It's great. I love it, but not gonna complain.
It's true. We don't really do picks anymore. I still This Week in Pixtory is probably one of my top 3
still really good, and I still look at it and smile because I go, I remember that.
Yeah,
good.
Me too.
Time.
It really brings
you
back.
On this day, on February 7th, 2018, Colby, you picked Earl Grey tea. Good pick.
Actually, in February 5th, 2019, Dan picked Sensor Push, and I still have and use my Sensor Push that I got based on your recommendation.
And I think that'll be part of our discussion tonight.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that was 6 years ago. I must have got it more recently than that because I've never changed the battery and it still works.
Are you sure it's working?
Oh yeah, no, I check it all the time. We had some heat drama this year, in December, where the heat was sort of working, and then we had that weekend where it was 6 degrees all weekend, and the heat was it became apparent that the heat was not actually working because it was getting down to 50 degrees in the apartment. But it was very useful for that because could confirm that, it was in fact
You have the
very
data to
cold
prove it.
in the
Well,
in the
this is such a
apartment.
good natural progression that I'd rather not wait. Let's dig right in. Colby, like 3 months ago, which is like 2 episodes ago, you had mentioned that you want to talk about smart home sensors, specifically around temperature and our experiences. Do you remember that request, or am I just making this up? That was you making.
That was me making
That's
the request,
right.
and Colby
So
said
Dan,
he
what-
could
what's
fulfill
your
the
thought?
request.
What's your conundrum
Oh,
here? The
nice.
texts are in session.
Well, it's funny that it sounds like Colby's solution will be a thing that I originally
would be very
told
us.
him about.
Full circle.
Here's another funny thing. Okay. But yeah, so my conundrum is we are putting together the baby's room, and I suspect that the baby's room is very cold sometimes. And I know that sometimes it is, but I don't know how often it is very cold. And I would like exactly what Sensor Push does. I would like a graph of temperature over time. And I suspect in the summer, and Colby can probably confirm, that sometimes that room gets very hot. And so that might also be good to know, but I don't have time. I wish I had had this data historically. Here's a fun fact, Colby. 2 questions. How much do you think a Sensor Push is on Amazon right now, if you haven't already looked? Just one.
$40.
No, that's a good guess. It's $70. How much do you think it was when I bought one in 2019?
$30.
$40.
Wow. $70. Did they stop making them?
No, the website's still around, it looks like. Or at least that's on Amazon. What is the website selling them for? No, the website just takes you straight to Amazon.
Tariffs, man.
Oh wait, this is interesting actually. If
Well,
you click on the Sensor Push, like go to website and you click on buy now, it takes you to Amazon. And on Amazon there are 3. And the bottom most one is the one that I bought, and it's only $55.
Oh, maybe one of these says water resistant
Oh,
and one does not.
interesting. Okay,
I'm pretty sure I got the non-water. Oh yeah, I can see what my purchase history right here
Yep,
in Amazon.
yep.
results. I got the non-waterproof.
Yep. So yeah, but it does. I guess this is fine. So, anyways, keep going, Colby. What do you use the Sensor Push for? Do you just look at the app?
Yeah, I just look at the app. A while ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, my parents put up like a little greenhouse, and my mom wanted a temperature sensor to keep an eye on the greenhouse, and so I wanted to get her like a connected one, but I did not want to just like choose at random from Amazon. So I bought several, and I got a Sensor Push, and I got 1 or 2 of the Eve ones to try, and I think I tried another one too, but I don't remember what it was or if it was successful. And I liked the Sensor Push, but it didn't work. Perhaps I'm surprised. Like their greenhouse, it was slightly too far away for the Bluetooth, so the Sensor Push didn't work. And so I kept it for myself. And for no particular reason. I think for a while we put it in the refrigerator. Like, I use it for debugging a lot. So a while back, like, remember my fridge died and we had to get a new fridge. Like, when the fridge was being weird, I put it in the fridge, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not cold enough. And then after we got the new fridge, I just put it in the fridge to see if it was working, and it was working. And then when the heat was being weird, I took it out and I put it in the bedroom to like measure the heat. But I ended up giving my mom the Eve one, which was nice, but unlike the Sensor Push, the battery definitely does not last for multiple years. And it didn't. The battery did not. It would last for like some months, but it was like not long enough. It was like annoying how short it was. But the E1 was nice because it did the new protocol, like Thread.
Matter?
Is that the
Matter
new
or
smart
Matter
home
over
protocol?
Matter over Thread?
Yeah, so I think Matter is the protocol and Thread is the
course, it's so
transport
obvious.
mechanism or something. Like Thread is analogous to like, duh, Sean, get it right. Thread is like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It's like, whatever the radio waves that are, shooting through your body. And so that was nice because Thread could get further. It reached the greenhouse most of the time. But this turned out to be a failed experiment all around because in the height of the summer, the greenhouse got too hot for the thermometer to function. So it was just like, it would just shut off right when it got, which I guess in a way that tells you that like, yeah, it is over 110 degrees in the greenhouse, but it didn't really do the job. So I failed in my quest. But I did acquire a sensor push that, is good for putting in random places.
Nope, Dan, you're on mute.
I'm going to have to look for mine because I totally forgot about this.
Still
You have to
chugging.
tell us if the battery still has juice.
And if it still has all the years
whatever
of
drawer
temperature
it's in.
data.
I just looked at the situation, Dan. I think I have a potential solution for you. So it initially started, and I've told the story on the show over
Okay.
the years. When I first moved into my house, it was a piece of junk, and I had a temperature problem. I had pipes freezing. It was later because I learned that all the insulation in my walls had been eaten by wild animals who had lived in them. But I needed a way to measure temperature down in the basement. So I looked around for a solution, and I got a package deal from a company called SwitchBot. I don't know if you guys have heard of SwitchBot. They've been around for a while. I'm gonna paste the link here. And they make a whole bunch of different smart home stuff. They're probably best known for the little box that like clicks the switch for you, if you've ever seen that. That was kind of their first big thing. Their other one is they have the robotic curtain open and closers. But they do a whole bunch of smart home stuff. And it's all really reasonably priced. So I actually purchased they do nice bundles. I bought a bundle of, now here's the downside. You got to buy the hub. But the hub's not crazy expensive. It's really not a hassle. But I got the hub and a bunch of the temperature sensors. And I have them all over my house. And so what's nice is they're temperature and humidity sensors. And I'll show you, this is my bedroom here. Lazy man screen share. I'll put it to the camera. But it does temperature and humidity, but it also does tracking chart over time. That's kind of the month view. Let me zoom in so it's a little bit closer. But you can see the temperature and you can zoom right in. It does absolute humidity and dew point and all that. Runs on AAA batteries. Once a year, maybe you replace them. Now it's Bluetooth, so keep an eye on what the range is going to be. But I've never had any issues within my house. But the thing is, I actually have, because I many smart home I actually have 6 of them running all over my house. It was a good deal, I promise. But upstairs and downstairs, so I can keep an eye on the temperature. And what's really fun is, because of course I have to overdo it, I noticed they also have a smart switch, like a smart wall plug. So I took my dumb humidifier, hooked it up to the sensor in my bedroom, and now when the humidity drops below a certain level, the humidifier kicks on. And when it hits a certain level, it kicks off. But I've been highly satisfied with SwitchBot.
Very cool.
To date, it's worked. Never had any issues. It's worked super well.
Which
I own the
thing do you
SwitchBot
have?
Meter Plus is the actual ones I have. They didn't have the newer ones. That's what I like.
And it displays all this on
honestly,
it
to
too.
me, that's
Oh,
a huge
sick.
value, is to be able to look over at it and see what it is. But other than that, it's deadly simple and just all feeds it right back into the app. And like I said, they always have deals and like combo packages where you can get a couple of them plus a hub for a certain price. It just depends on the day what they have and don't have.
This is cool.
You know what you're inspiring me to do, Sean? So to take it to
Bring it on.
home improvement corner for a second.
Ooh.
We had a squirrel issue in the attic, and I didn't know that squirrels were interested in chewing through things, but they are. And so we got the squirrel out of the attic, and someone did a really shitty patch job, which I should send you a photo of it. It's terrible. They basically filled the eaves with spray foam, basically, and then like put a rolled up, like held a rolled up piece of mesh wire and then spray foamed it into place. So it's like 95% spray foam, and inside you can see little bits of mesh wire poking out. But that aside, someone else came by and looked in the attic, and they're like, "Oh, you've got condensation on your nails," which I didn't know was a problem. Sean's nodding his head. Apparently that's bad. It means that, let me see if I can, if you get condensation, it's because it's cold on the outside and hot on the inside. And because it's on the nails on the roof, it's cold outside and it's hot in the attic. And the attic shouldn't get hot. The attic should be ventilated. And so the attic is insufficiently ventilated. But if I had one of your thingies, or one of Colby's thingies, I think I'm leaning towards Colby's thingies, because I could chuck one of these up in the attic, and our attic is like completely unusable. It's just pure insulation. I could have data, because like one of the things I'm thinking is like, how I'm going to call up the insulation people who just replaced our insulation in October and be like, someone told me there's condensation on a nail, and like this, doesn't seem very convincing. But if I have data, I'd be like, look how humid it is. That would seem bad. So,
well, I have a great question for you, Dan. Who is your electricity or gas provider?
The electricity provider is Seattle City of Seattle, and the gas provider is it. All the gas providers start with P. Have you noticed this? Is it PG&E? Is it PSE? Puget Sound Energy.
Because I mentioned this because here's Puget Sound Energy. It's true here in Mass. It's a program called Mass Save, but it's true in a lot of states. You got to check your local utilities. Most of them offer home assessments, and they will come in, and they will. This is a Massachusetts experience, so your results may vary, but they will come in. They go through your entire house, and they do an energy assessment, and they look at any opportunities where energy is being wasted. Whether it's bad seals around windows and doors, it's inefficient light bulbs, it's inefficient power strips, it's etc. But one of the things they look at is insulation. And they offer, again in Mass, a lot of shit for free. Because technically you pay a fee to your electric company that then goes into the pot that pays for all that. But that was one of the things that happened in my house, is they came in, they did the assessment. One of the reasons I had to replace all my windows, because they're like, these are the shittiest windows I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. A very small anecdote. They do a test where they basically close all the windows and doors except your front door, where they put a big like rig in the door frame with a fan, and they can actually measure like how much air is sucked in and out of your house when it's sealed. It scored below zero. It scored so low. He's like, I can't get a number. That's how leaky your house is. But anyway, they came and put in a whole bunch of new insulation in my attic for free. So, because it was inadequately insulated. I don't know if that's true for venting, but what that says to me, Dan, is in the summer, your attic is going to get very hot. And because it's not vented, it's going to overheat the house, and you're going to use more air conditioning. And so I would think that's an energy problem that a program like that might address, whether that's to add venting. Again, totally varies by where you live. Yeah, it says here, in-home...
This is very interesting.
Oh, okay. Previously, PSE offered an in-person service where an assessor would physically come out to evaluate. It is unfortunately unable to deliver that service at a reasonable cost. Currently, there's no plan to restart the program.
Yeah.
But they do offer rebates for energy-efficient products and services. Like your appliances, heating and cooling, insulation. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can get a rebate back on insulation. Anyway,
Wow. Oh, so I just while you were talking, I did the oh man,
yep.
I did the self-assessment.
Yeah. It's almost
It
like they
doesn't really
don't
tell
want
me
you to
anything,
use
though.
it.
I get an error, but on gas, I use way less. 12 therms. Similar homes use 121 therms, whatever that means.
Drowning in
Tell me
therms.
about your therms.
But anyway.
That's probably you have a. Don't you have a like heat pump water heater or something?
Yeah,
I
so
feel
it's
like that's
only
what
the
everyone
gas
uses their
stove.
gas for. Yeah.
The other thing is you can get a switch spot motion sensor and put it in your attic to alert you when there's squirrels.
That's true.
Well,
That might
yes,
be more
that's
stressful
terrifying.
than
It'd be
squirrels,
imagine having to like change the batteries on that. That just sounds like a.
Yeah.
Well, listen, there's no such thing as too many smart home devices. Did I mention you guys? I recently had to buy a new refrigerator. I did.
No.
So, as previously mentioned, my house was not only abandoned for years, but flipped by the worst flippers on planet Earth. And one of the few things of theirs I had never replaced was the refrigerator. Was the one that the flippers put in. It was a cheap one. And I had noticed mine was not being cold. And Colby, true to form, I put my SwitchBot sensors in my fridge and refrigerator to check the temperatures and monitor them. And it wasn't really holding temperature well. And then one night it was making this like crazy like hissing sound that I really didn't like. And it was clearly on its way out. I wasn't in a rush to replace it, but I knew it was coming. It'd been almost 10 years. But I pull it out, and what I find is in the fridge, on the back of your fridge, there's kind of that, like opening where like the mechanics are and stuff. So as I had mentioned, my house was abandoned and filled with mice and other animals. The flippers came in, flipped it, put in this new appliance, and then left. The inside of that cavity was filled with mouse hair and mouse droppings. Which, not recent. But what that tells me is there was a span of time post-flip when they were still actively, the rodents were still actively living in the house, and they had been inside a refrigerator with a blowing fan, by the way, since I've lived here the last 4 years. It was disheartening, to say the least.
Where was this?
Yeah, the
was it
refrigerator's
behind
kind of
the
boxed in
refrigerator?
on all sides and back against the wall, and it had like a cover over this
Yeah.
sort of inside cavity. So I never thought to look in there when I got the place. Like, why would you? But it was extremely unpleasant inside of there. So I said, this fridge is leaking. That was my final straw. I went and picked up an LG French door fridge, which I'm extremely happy with. It's large, it holds a lot of food, keeps things cold, but it also has Wi-Fi. No cameras. I don't have.
Yeah, does it have a camera?
No, I don't.
Does it have the screen that shows you what's inside?
Fridge with cameras where I don't have to open the door. I can look at the screen to see what's inside it. Money. I don't. I have regular fridge money, but I do get to use everyone's favorite, the ThinkQ app. Now it's Think for my friends at LG. I still call it the ThinQ app. And you really can't do much with the app, it turns out. You can turn the temperature up and down. You can turn on a feature called Ice Plus, which is very funny to me, if you need more ice. Filter management. But the number one cool thing was the energy monitoring, and it actually tracks how often and at exactly what time I open and close the door of the fridge. That's data you can use.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, does it have integrations with other smart home things? Like, could you have other things happen when you open
I
the
hadn't
door?
thought about that. I don't think so. But now you've got me really like. Okay, help me pitch here. Like, what
That would be
is
so
the
cool.
what's the sort of if sort of call and response when I open the door? What could happen?
What I would want to set up to prank you would be you open the door and from your smart speaker plays the
Oh, that's great.
Hallelujah, like some sort of like very gothic Christian, like you're seeing the light pours out of the refrigerator.
Well, I was thinking you could do a whole
Ghostbusters
playlist
style.
of like Ice Ice Baby and
Yes.
Cool as Ice and like, you know, all like cold themed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
for
when
sure.
you press the Ice Plus button, absolutely Ice
I mean,
Ice
this is
Baby plays.
I've owned this fridge for like
It's party time.
I don't know, 3 weeks now, maybe. I've opened the door 213 times.
That's interesting. Well, so actually, we recently got
Ooh,
a standing
Now you're a real
freezer for the
homeowner,
basement.
by the way.
And now we're drunk with power.
hell yeah!
Costco power, Sean.
Seriously.
Do you buy
Now,
like the
there's nothing
8-pound
we can't
package
buy
of
at
ground
Costco
beef
now.
for like the full length salmon?
We did do that once. We got pork. It was like 15 pounds of pork shoulder or something. It was so huge, and we did take up
Love
like
it.
2/3 of our freezer with it. And then we went to like use it, and it takes days to defrost that much. So the other lesson I learned is cut it up before you freeze it. But yes, we do things like that. But when you open a freezer, it becomes really clear what's happening to your refrigerator when you open it up, because you feel you're like getting blasted with this cold air, and you're looking at that freezer and you're like, there's not that much air in there to begin with. And so I've been thinking more closely about when I open my refrigerator. But yes, that was very uneventful. It seems to work great, knock on wood. We thought about getting a chest freezer. Chest freezers are more efficient. The air doesn't come out of them when you open them because cold air sinks. But then you have to do this crazy defrosting
And it's also,
thing. I don't remember if we talked about this on
mine
the
is
show.
the 2 French doors with the big bottom drawer, and in general, I don't like having I wish it was just one door, which you can get, but I didn't. It was stupid. But I love the space. Like, it's super huge in there. I have like 8 kinds of LaCroix. It's awesome. But yes,
Now, do they do French doors because then it's not as open when you open it? Do they expect people to only open one side?
I always assumed it was just a design thing. I don't know if there's actually any like energy benefits or. Yeah, I guess. But
that would make
if you're-
sense.
Yes.
But I almost never know what side, unless I'm getting the milk. I
And
don't
maybe
know
it's
what
just
side
a habit,
of the door
or because it's
something's gonna
impressive.
be.
But the first thing I do is
Lena
just
probably
reach up
does.
and pull both. Like, I never think to just, oh, you just opened one. No, I just opened both. But the problem with the bottom drawer freezer that I don't like is stuff gets buried. That I have to dig around. So I agree. A stand-up freezer to me is a little more organizationally efficient.
Yeah. We've been meal prepping in preparation for the baby. And so we got freezer bags. We're thinking about getting to be vacuum sealer people. We're not sure yet. We got freezer bags. We're filling the freezer bags with labeled and dated bags of inevitably brown goo. It's like beef stew, curry.
People are going to think you're like
It all kind of
preppers or
looks the
something.
same.
Like, you know. Yeah.
Well, we are. We're prepping for a certain kind of disaster for sure.
Some food prepping Rex burritos,
Lena was just talking about burritos last night. She wants to make breakfast burritos.
lasagna preps well.
We thought about lasagna, but you can just get the humongous lasagna at Costco.
There you go. You can pre-purchase
Yeah.
your prepped lasagna.
Now, I bet Laura knows things about vacuum sealers.
Oh, we have a vacuum sealer.
Okay, so pitch me on a vacuum, or do I need a vacuum sealer? Like, what's the deal?
It's nice if you say buy 15 pounds of pork shoulder and want to cut it up and then freeze it. Like,
Yes.
that's the kind of thing we use it for. We also do the sous vide thing, so like we use it for the sous vide thing. That is like the primary purpose of the vacuum sealer. All other things are secondary.
Here's speaking of sous vide. One thing you're not supposed to do when you are pregnant is take hot baths. Like, they can't typically be over like 100 and something degrees, and typically hot water comes out at 120 degrees. And so it's a pain in the butt to try to dial this in with like a thermometer. But someone on Reddit said just stick fill it up with cold water, stick the sous vide in there in the morning, and come back later. We don't have a sous vide to try this, but
Wow. If I ever get a new one, I'll send you my old one.
thanks.
That's such a good idea. I when we were on our honeymoon in Mexico, there was a hot tub which was like people would use during the day, and it was like 90 degrees in the sun. People are sitting in the hot tub, but like we were like, sitting by the pool, and I'm just like, hanging out, like looking at these people who are choosing to be in the hot tub, and I couldn't like the image entered my head. I could not shake it for the rest of the trip that they were like in soup, like
boiling
like
boiling their
stock,
organs alive.
like people's stuff. Right, like people would get out and other people would get in. It's like, but the sous vide, continues.
I did, Dan. I did throw into Slack for you a recipe I very much enjoy. It's a slow cooker. I use it as a tortilla filling. They call it a for like a burrito, but it's chicken, rice, beans, tomatoes, cheese. A bunch of spices. It's really tasty, and it freezes. That's where I
it just opened up in my Crouton
I love
app. This
Crouton,
is so
by the way.
cool.
Great app. But it freezes really nice. Where you can just throw it in a tortilla or something. It's pretty easy. So
That's a good idea.
I wrote down. I don't think we'll get to it tonight. I want to know, as work from home people, what your lunch routine is on an average day. We do not have to talk about that tonight. I've written that down for next time because I know there's other topics we want to get to, but I'm very curious to answer. Because as someone who works in an office every day, I have bad lunch habits. So nice tease for next week. But Dan, you wanted to talk about baby room.
Yeah, so this is it's just smart home by a different name. And so, like, last time I really looked, I remember kind of from photos what my room was like when I was a baby. There was a crib, there was a changing table, there was probably a place to put clothes. There was probably one of those like radio baby monitors, although maybe not even, but probably there was one. And that was pretty much it. And now like all the same smart home stuff applies. So like one really clutch thing that I didn't think about, I didn't do it for this reason, but having dimmable smart lights is super handy in a baby's room because you can keep the light super, super dim. Babies like very, very dark light or no light at all. But then also there's so then there's like baby cameras, and baby cameras are now a whole thing where this is the new baby monitor, and they wall mount because there's like all sorts of baby safety things where like you don't want a baby to like get up and like topple a tower over onto it, and so the stands, and you can't clip it to the crib because then they could like tear it off or something, and babies will destroy anything they possibly can.
Oh yeah, look at these.
You gotta like mount this thing to the wall, and then and then they do like AI, like, oh, is your kid sleeping? And they're like listening to the kid, and you can probably talk back to the kid or something. I don't know. And they make like ankle bracelets or these like what do they call it? The onesies, like smart onesies. So you know how much a kid is moving. And then there's this whole thing where people are like, well, kind of like the motion detector in the attic. Is it really helpful to know any of this information? Because wouldn't you be better off if you just didn't know? And then your kid either sleeps or doesn't, and either, is healthy at the next doctor's visit or isn't. And instead of worrying about it all the time. So there's a lot of stuff there. The other big area is smart alarm clocks, and this one, a friend told me, has been really key. And so there's a bunch of these too, where they kind of start out basically as sound machines. You don't need to wake a baby up, so they just wake up when they're going to wake up, and they're just sound machines. And then they transition into alarm clocks, but then they have a visual component of the alarm clock, and you can set the alarm clock in phases. So you can say from whatever 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. no light. At 6 a.m. the light turns red. At 7 a.m. the light turns green, and you can, once your baby can communicate, you could say, "Baby," or kid, I guess at this point, you can when the light is green, you can come out and wake us up. When the light is red, you can do whatever you want. You just cannot wake us up. And that this, because kids don't know how to read a clock, they don't know what time it is, but they know if the light is red or green. But you can arbitrarily program this thing for all sorts of different things. So this is what I think. This is what I've learned about. Oh, right, and the baby proofing thing, which I think we talked about with the outlets. And I just replaced all the outlets with the sliding outlet covers.
I will say
it.
one thing you mentioned
Yeah.
that my niece and nephew had was the sound machine clock thing. Hatch was the one my sister had. That thing is equal parts cool and annoying. It's annoying because it's an excuse to make a lot of noise for babies, and I don't like a lot of noise. But the best part about it is it's portable. And so you take it with you when you go places, and so the kids are used to the same sound and light experience when you're on the road and somewhere else, because you would bring it to like my house or grandma's house, and it was really handy for that. So I will personally recommend that one.
That's another thing I've noticed with baby tech is all baby tech can be plugged in and can be used with batteries. And I didn't get that for a while until I thought about the thing that you were talking about. So like all the cameras are all pretty much battery powered in addition to being wall powered. Also things like breast pumps are like they can plug into the wall, but you can walk around with them. They have ones with like, you can like, get up and use the bathroom and come back, or you could like go on a trip and it's battery powered the whole time. Yeah, portability
that's a good question.
Concern.
Again, from what I've heard from people who have had babies, a big choice to make is the bag. Have you picked out a baby bag?
No, we just decided we have like so many bags. We're just going to use a bag we have. We're going to use Lena's old law firm, give her a
very
backpack.
Fair.
It's never been used. We're going to use
I don't know
that
that's a bad idea.
All
I'll say is my experience with the bags is, however big of a bag you think you need a bigger one. And it is a little bit like a magical mystery bag where somehow you'll manage to pull out the most incredible things out of this bag because you have to have a lot in it.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, right. There's the snoo bassinet thing. Did we talk about how this is a huge controversy?
No.
Okay.
Smart.
We decided not to get one.
I mean,
but we could always change our mind. I guess.
So let me just start by saying I don't have a baby. I've never had a baby. I don't know that much about babies, but I'm still going to give you my opinion. Very little.
Sounds like you might have more experience than I do at this point, Sean,
I don't have much experience, but I'm going to give you my opinion anyway. What I would do if I were in your shoes, which is,
sure.
I think most of the sensor stuff is bunk. Like, I think it's analysis by paralysis. I think it's going to worry you more than it helps. You don't actually know what it means when certain things happen, and a lot of things are natural. And babies are all different. The only thing that I could be sold on is the camera, because the physical movement is so critical. I also think it's less of a pain in the, like, if you have to strap a sensor to your baby, that sounds like a lot of work. Like, that sounds just like you got to keep it charged. With the camera thing, once you install it, it's just there.
Yeah, so we got the camera thing, and
Hatch
I'm gonna get the.
I'll
the
have to ask
thing.
around to see if there's any other. I'm just trying to remember Did you get the bottle washer?
I think that's pretty much it. No, I read that you can just use the dishwasher.
Talked to somebody who recently had a baby in the last 2 years, and what they said to me was they said the exact same thing you did, Dan, and then they were so happy they bought the bottle washer. Because you wash bottles so often that even if the little bit of convenience it gives you is well worth it. I'm not saying you should buy one. I'm just saying that was a specific piece of feedback I got. Because they said that's like the one sort of unnecessary thing that they actually are very glad they got.
Well, we ended up accidentally getting a bottle warmer. So here's the other thing that we've been, I guess this is kind of a tech tip. People like this baby stuff has a very limited shelf life. Unless you have multiple kids, a lot of it's useful for sometimes only 3 months, sometimes maybe a year and a half. And so the turnover rate with these things is really high. And you can go on Facebook Marketplace or whatever your thing in your area is and find. So like someone gave us bag with 2 breast pumps, a bottle warmer, like 6 bottles, these like milk freezing bags, and a bunch of other shit for $50. It was easily like over
Mhm.
$300 if you bought all of that stuff new. Um, so we got a bottle warmer through that. We didn't want it. It was just it was included with everything else. Uh, but where I'm going with this is we have
Wow.
over 12 bottles so far. And so one of my thoughts is like, could I just, if I got it to like 24, right? Like the baby feeds, like maybe for some amount of time, the baby isn't using a bottle to feed. Maybe it's using 100%, but hopefully somewhere in between. And so if you could go 2 days without having to wash any bottles, then the dishwasher thing seems viable. Then it seems like once a day you run the dishwasher and it would be okay. So that's my current strategy, is just to get a shit ton of bottles, which unfortunately are going to be all different brands with all different tops. So
Your
that's going to be the
child will
downside
be
of
a
this
creative eater. We'll put it that way.
approach.
And
It
see,
won't
this
be
is what
picky.
is this like
It
one
won't
of
be
those
picky.
things that's going to
See?
traumatize your child for the rest of their life, and they'll be talking about it in therapy? I had no consistency as a child. Well, that's yeah.
Oh, right. Well, that's the smart home stuff. And then
No,
there's the
haven't
car
even
stuff.
gotten
Did we talk
there.
about the car stuff?
No, we
I
got
haven't
time.
even gotten there. I don't know how much time we have, but yeah. So the car thing, there's like cars and strollers were the two things that I feel like when I was growing up, strollers were like umbrellas, right? They had like the 4 little coaster wheels on the bottom and a canvas or umbrella synthetic fabric thing, maybe a buckle, right? Like there was not these like up a baby Cadillac esque things. So, anyways, that's just interesting, and I don't even understand all of it yet. There's like
Mm-hmm.
travel strollers, which are different from regular strollers in some way. I don't get it. But the car seat thing we did go deep on. This is another thing that only lasts for 3 months. So like the first car seat you buy is only going to last for at most a year, I think. And some of them are like newborn car seats, and then some of them are infant car seats. But then after they reach a certain weight, you just have to get a new car seat. So you're at minimum going to have 2, possibly 3 or 4. And then they get older, even for the infant car seat, and you need like a booster seat. And some of these things convert between them. Some of these things have different safety features. The one we got was from Canada, and so thank God we bought it on sale at Black Friday. But yes, and it's like very difficult to install, and there's like these little latch thingies in the backs of new-ish cars since like 2005 or whatever, and I never knew what that was for. And you like hook it in there, but then people are like, oh, you shouldn't use those because those are only on the outboard seats, and really your kid should be in the middle seat because that provides the most protection from like an accident if you get T-boned. But then you gotta like tie the seat in with a seat belt, and you have to look up how to do it. And you can use these on airplanes. People take their car seats on airplanes, and you can strap the car seat into the airplane with the
No,
airplane
I
seatbelt.
usually see the
I've
poor
never
guys
seen
who have
anyone
to
do
schlub
that.
it around and check it. True.
Well, yeah, but they
you
get
also
to gate check it. They're
carry
living,
the seat around.
This is like that's true.
Yeah, Dan,
That's true.
are you sure you want to do this? This sounds like a lot of work and a lot of money.
Hey,
Oh,
you should have started
well,
talking to me about this a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy, but again, that's where it's so hard to separate the sort of like glossy marketing from like what you actually need, and then the other is again your point used. Like, at what point can you? I'm sure it's helpful that you live in a decently populated area, where you have the ability.
Yes, though, if you want to get good deals, you drive for 30 minutes. That's another thing we learned. So you're going to save like 10, 20, $30 off of that thing if you drive to a place where nobody lives.
Very smart.
So it cuts
yeah,
both
where
ways.
this is kind of a good tech question. Where do you look online for these things? Is it like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace?
So this is all Lena. So we would really need to bring her on. I know she uses Facebook Marketplace. I know she uses
I would think they're like local mom groups.
shit. There's another website. Yeah, so there's a thing, and I don't know if this is a thing everywhere,
Yeah.
that are in Seattle called Buy Nothing groups, and each neighborhood has its own Buy Nothing group on Facebook, and that's where we've gotten a lot of stuff. But that's not where you're going to get the cheapest stuff. The cheapest stuff, you want to go on Facebook Marketplace and drive 30 plus minutes away. So yeah, Facebook. What was the other thing called? I can't remember. I'll look it up.
Are you Colby? Do you do like Facebook Marketplace stuff at all, or?
I don't usually buy stuff, but I do sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace sometimes. It's like usually pretty effective. It's nice around here too, because like, you know,
Right.
the people are just gonna like walk to your house, so you can. I mean, I don't know what it's like elsewhere, but like usually, you know, things turn over pretty quickly. I sold my old Apple Cinema display on Facebook Marketplace, which was like, got a decent amount of money. I also I wanted to get a new carry-on luggage, and I sold my old carry-on luggage. That was great. And then, I sold my stupid, like, Herman Miller Aeron chair for like $800 and bought like a new desk. I bought an entire new, like, office, you know, home office furniture set for the price of, you know, for what I sold this dumb chair for.
Whoa.
Dang.
Shots fired.
It was, so Dan, I don't know if you remember this, but I had like the stool Aeron chair. Like,
Oh, right. Okay. I
which
forgot
was
about
like,
that.
it was fine. It needed, like, I think the seat had kind of worn out. Like, I think I needed to replace the seat, and I couldn't find a replacement seat. And so I was just like, I'm gonna sell this and buy a new chair. And in the process, I got like a more normal desk that did not require a wheelchair.
I don't usually buy things on Marketplace. I do sell. But my brother likes to buy things on Facebook Marketplace and use me and my SUV to go buy them, including not one but two separate rod hockey tables, which are like it's like foosball, but hockey, where the little player.
But hockey.
Rod hockey is what they're called.
Did you say rod hockey?
Well, that's
the most
actually,
does it
think
have
about
like
there's
a
two different
dome
kinds.
over
That's called
hockey
bubble
rink?
hockey, and it's the same mechanics. It just has a cover.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's rod hockey. And he made me go get one all the way in New York, and then like 2 years later found a better one and made me go get that. So, I'm a huge sucker
New York
for stupid rod hockey. Anyway,
New York City.
you know where I have had good luck recently with electronics is eBay. I've actually been pumping out, like, low dollar items aren't efficient to ship, but I had my old Meta headset that I sold for decent money. I had like an old USB-C hub that I sold. I upgraded my keyboard. We talked about this. My old one is worth good money, and there's no way you're going to see this on camera. The entire inside of it is full of cat hair. I have to take off every single key and clean it before I can sell it. I hope that eventually happens. Otherwise, it's just been sitting here.
I thought you were going to say the entire inside.
Well,
was
hey,
full
listen,
of
when I sell it on
cash.
eBay, might as well be. Yeah, no, it's just like literally, if you look through the keys, it's like a coating of cat hair through the whole thing. So, not great.
Amazing. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. You guys, I have one technology announcement that I think I forgot to tell you about. I
You can
changed
do that?
internet providers. Yeah. I'm beaming to you via
As Dan and I
Starry
rush
now.
to Google.
Not
Which is-
Starlink.
What?
Not Starlink. Star.
Star E. No,
Star
I think they're like a semi-regional internet business.
Well, look at that.
Yeah, but they've been available in my building, and when they were first available, the speeds were kind of low. But now they have higher speeds, and the thing that really sold me was for an additional $5 a month on your plan, you can get an extra 50 megabytes
Wow,
of uploads.
that's not bad.
Or megabits of upload speed. And so I have 100 megabits up, which well outstrips the like 18 I used to get from Comcast for my 120.
Maybe this is why
You do
your
seem crisper.
volume is coming through so much louder.
Maybe
Because you
that's
used
why
to get
it's
like
all the
blurry
extra
once we
bits.
started recording, and you actually do seem crisper.
Yeah, it was
Available in
terrible.
Boston, Denver, Los Angeles, New York, and Washington,
yeah,
D.C. Can we?
Yeah. So I'm saving
wish I lived in a
like
place
50
that was
bucks
cool.
a month now.
Could we? Could you guys humor me?
That
Because
feels great.
now that Chloe's brought this up, can we all get a speed test? Let's all run a.
Right now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right now.
While I'm uploading. And what are you a
I'll
fast.com
dealer's choice.
guy or are you a speed test guy?
All right. Sold.
Well, fast.com works way better.
Oh yeah. Because I just
want upload info,
updated.
too?
I know we did talk about this on the show. I got all my new networking equipment, and so I'm curious how it's running this evening, because it has been a pretty big improvement. But because I am on Comcast, I pay for, I believe it's just under a gigabit. It's like not a full gig, but it should be pretty darn close. So let's see here. All right, I've got mine
gonna
here.
put it in Slack.
It's I am 630 down, and I am 26 up. Oh,
900,
920
920.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that is upsetting.
Fiber,
look at your
baby.
latency, Dan. Are you like is the entire internet like next door or something? Where the internet is?
I mean,
Yeah.
I do
That's
live
crazy.
near Amazon. Yeah. The internet, the Space Needle is actually where they broadcast the internet out.
Oh,
The people
that
on the other
makes
side of this hill, they get
sense.
really shitty internet. Yeah.
that's crazy. I've never seen that. That's one of the highest uploads I think I've ever seen in like a home.
I'm
Damn,
pretty
Colby, look
sure
at that.
like you
It
can
just
get
doesn't look that
Fios
terrible.
across the street from me, but not in our building. I like their trucks are always outside, like fiddling with cables, like on our block, but not in our damn building.
Now, could you find someone who lives across the street who'd be willing to put up one of those little point-to-point things and you
Little
just
microwave
hang something
dish
out
and-
your window?
right?
It would probably be almost as fast. There's no trees in between, those two places. You'd be great.
Right.
You'd be golden.
No, it's true. It's just a parking lot back here. Maybe the church has Fios.
The speed of God.
You'd be receive
So fast.
Receiving a message
that's
from
my
God.
problem here is they're going town by town and putting in fiber like independently, and they're just never going to get to my town. And so it's like wildly inconsistent. Although, you know what, I can live with. I'm more annoyed at what Colby pays for his. That's more annoying to me. I don't need a gigabit of speed. I just don't want to pay what I pay for it.
Now, are you two on Ethernet or
Wi-Fi.
on Wi-Fi?
I'm on Ethernet.
Colby, you're on Ethernet.
Yeah,
Sean,
my
you're
new
on
mesh
Wi-Fi.
setup is awesome.
I'm surprised, yeah, because it says that Colby server is in Boston, so like 80 milliseconds.
What does that mean? That loaded, unloaded?
I
don't
suspect
understand
it's
the
like
difference.
what if you do a ping with nothing going on, and if you do a ping while you're downloading something or uploading something would be my guess.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things about Star is I think in certain or all places they do they do that point to point thing for their infrastructure too. And that is like how they,
Make it cheap.
Right. It's cheap and they are able to operate in cities like Boston where they can't it's a huge pain in the ass.
We don't want to do
put
the
in
big
cable.
two for
For the big
fiber.
tube.
Yeah, for internet.
The other thing I love is if you look at the screenshots, we each have
bigger and
they say the
diggier.
size of the test files that they upload and download, and Dan's is like, yeah, we're just gonna upload almost a gigabyte's worth of data. Your shit's so fast. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's just a test.
Yeah, Cloudflare has a fun one too. I think
Oh, I never really noticed that. That's
There's speed test.
I love a good
Yeah.
speed test. I couldn't resist.
You,
I love that
you
kind of
get even
nonsense.
more data.
And, figuring out how all that works. Guys, we're just about out of time here. Is there anything we haven't discussed that you would like to discuss?
No, but it sounds like we have some good upcoming topics. I want to talk
I
about
said lunch. I want to talk about
what was
lunch.
the other thing we brought up? Right, lunch. I want to talk about my new
I'm gonna
approach
write
to
this
technology. Dan's new approach to technology. Yeah. There's probably more baby stuff we could talk about. Yeah.
Well,
so no,
and
this
the
was a great
great thing,
episode.
Dan,
Very, very productive.
is I can tease even more coming up. Not only is the show on a fast track to success, but our sister show Up for Debate has one of our biggest months ever coming up in February. This week, Super Bowl prop bets are back. Chiefs, Eagles. Nobody's excited. Kendrick Lamar, who cares? It's going to be great. Matt and I will be doing our prop bet challenge, and I'm in it to win it. And then the week after that, it's a new year, which means a new movie league. We will be drafting a whole new slate of films, and the league is getting bigger and better this year. More teams, more money, more movies, more twists. It's a supersized season of the Up for Debate Movie League. You're going to want to check that out. And then the week after that will result on... Oh, my God, that is a lot of data. Holy crap. No one needs that much data. No one needs that much internet. And so definitely check that out at upfordebate.tv or wherever you get podcasts. Check out Up for Debate. It's going to be a hoot. These guys are going to get involved. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our website, of course, is don'tpanic.io. It might still be there by the time you hear this. Definitely check it out. Audio available wherever you get podcasts, and the video version on YouTube if you want to see our luxurious faces. You can check that out. Of course, you can get a hold of us. don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. Send us a note. But in the meantime, on behalf of Colby and Dunn, I'm Sean. We appreciate being here as always. The next time we're going to see you for a great episode of Don't Panic.